Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be showing you my hydroponic system here. I built this a few years ago. It does very well. I built this pool area for the water to be in, and down there where I'm pointing is a pump, and the pump pumps the water through this hose into here. Then the gravity brings the water down through the piping system to disperse it back into the water. Now, a hydroponic system, for it to do very well, is it's got to be high oxygen in the water. And so how this is going is it's putting oxygen in the water as it drops into the water. Now, the other thing you should know is with a hydroponic system, you want to add nutrients to the water. Now, the only nutrients I add to this water, because this is how I set it up, is that my chickens rest here on this bar at night. And depending on which way they're facing, if they're facing towards the road, then they crap right into the system. So every night, my chickens are crapping into this water. And that amount of nutrients blends into the water, causing what you see here. Now, you could go with an aquaponics system, which is the exact same thing, but it has fish in there. So what you do is you put a whole bunch of goldfish or carp or whatever you want, you stick fish in the water, and that's an aquaponics system. And what it does is this fish poo then gives you the nutrients, because what the fish will do is fish will eat this leafy stuff that fell in. Every time there's a discharge here, there's roots that are breaking off. So usually an aquaponic system is pretty self-sufficient. You don't have to feed the fish. The plant roots or anything that falls into the water feeds the fish. Then the fish poo, that's the nutrients that the plants use. But in this case, I'm not using fish, so it's considered a hydroponic system. Putting the oxygen in, and I'm just relying on the chickens to do their business in the water, which, as you can see, is doing great. Look at this cucumber here. I've got look at all these tomatoes in here. Now, what I like to do once a week is flush the system, and so that, you know, anything that's built up into the pipe. And what I do here is I just grab the garden hose and I keep this bay open, and I put the garden hose in here with the thing on. So right now I'm taking fresh water and dumping it in the system. And what it does is it flushes the system out. What you want to do is when you build one of these, just make sure that you have a valve, so when the water gets to a certain height, the water gets discharged to wherever you want to go. With this system, the water level can get up to the bottom of this board, and then it weeps out that backside, you know, out over the deck into the other garden on the ground on the outside. As you can tell, I'm missing a lot of water here. You know, it's kind of empty. What happens is you do get evaporation because of how hot it is, but you also will get to a point where your little jobbies here, these holes, will start to overflow because the root systems are getting crazy complicated. And what you'll do is you'll get some dripping. This system, I built it so that the dripping, or a good 90% of the dripping, will end up back into the pond, you know, into the basin. But you will get some dripping that will fall outside of the pool, and that's loss of water. So between evaporation and some dripping that has occurred, because the roots get really bound, you should, let's see here, this is soury. Here, I'm going to show you here. Look at these roots. Look at those roots. So those roots are all through here on each one of these soury. Soury does very well in one of these systems. It really does. Tomatoes do amazing in a hydroponic system or aquaponic system. Even cucumbers, they do amazing in the system. And as you can see, I've got pretty much all my bays are full of plants that are doing very well. And as you can see, the water is coming out here faster now because of what we're doing here is we're adding the water. Now the pump that I got for this pond is a couple years old, so it's had seen better days, but it still pumps it. So I figured I would wait until it dies before I replace it. What you want to do is get a pump that's going to move at least, you know, hopefully if you can get a pump to move at least 20 gallons a minute, which would be good, because a half-inch hose should be able at optimal pressure to do 50 gallons a minute, right? Your hose here, if you put optimal pressure behind it, you only can move so much water through it, you know, because that's the reality. It's probably going to top out at 50 gallons per minute. But if your pump is 20 gallons per minute, then you'll be fine. And that's what I would recommend, is just getting, and what I ended up doing was just getting a normal pond pump, 20 gallons. And maybe this one was 25 gallons a minute, and just put it on the pump, and then it just pumps it for me. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this system fill up again. And I usually do this once a week. It's beautiful, it just works great. And I don't have to worry about watering throughout the week. Just when the water gets low, then you push the system in. Just as a add-on here, I've got my peppers here. These are my peppers, they're doing really well. Another pepper plant here. This is another cucumber plant. As you can see, the rabbits have gotten in here and started taking out, but now I've got to the point where the foliage is above where the rabbits can reach, so hopefully this will bounce back. I mean, it's got cucumbers on it. Got more tomatoes over there. But this video was about my aquaponics system. Here, my chickens. This is where my chickens lay their eggs. Right here. In this pot. And they perch on that at night. All right, well, thank you for joining me. And this has been the Tarkus Zone.